The silverware clinked a little louder that Thanksgiving. Not because the forks were heavier or the dishes were fancier, but because of the silence. The kind of silence that makes you feel every sound twice as much. I wasn't supposed to be there, remember? According to my mother, I wasn't part of the family plan this year. Not worthy of a seat at her table. She made sure I knew that. Her text message was clear. Things are complicated this year. Maybe it's best if you do your own thing. Do my own thing. So I did, and it cost me $5 million. Well, technically the ranch did, but I wasn't thinking about the price tag when I bought it. I was thinking about silence, dignity, and power, and maybe just a little bit of revenge. The ranch was nestled in the hills just outside Austin. 100 acres of untamed land that now had a custom-built glass farmhouse at its center, complete with floor-to-ceiling windows, a rustic modern kitchen, and a wraparound porch that looked out over a lake I had stocked myself. It was perfect. Too perfect for the family that had shut me out. But I still invited them. Every single one. The invitation was handwritten, personally delivered. I made sure the calligraphy was so beautiful it would make my mother wonder if royalty had sent. Eat Thanksgiving brunch at Megan's ranch. Dress code, elegant comfort. 11 a.m. sharp. I didn't say why. I didn't plead. I didn't hint. I just sent them the message that I was hosting, and that I had something to say. To my surprise, they came, or maybe it wasn't a surprise. My family always loved a spectacle, and money, and gossip, especially when it involved me. The day arrived like a storm, not in weather, but in atmosphere. My ranch staff had set up the outdoor table under a massive oak tree. The leaves were just starting to crisp golden, and lanterns hung above the setting, flickering like tiny stars. The table sat 22. I counted 21 chairs for them. One for me. I stood at the head of the table in my champagne-colored dress and watched them walk up the gravel path. First came Aunt Beverly, adjusting her faux fur collar, probably thinking she could sniff out the drama before anyone else. Then, my cousins, wide-eyed and whispering. And finally, my mother. She wore a smile like a weapon. Subtle, polished, dangerous. She walked in like a queen without a crown, chin lifted, gaze scanning the estate with calculated awe. Her eyes met mine. She didn't say a word. I didn't either. Not yet. We sat. Plates clattered. Conversation was hushed. They ate. They drank. They pretended this was normal. Pretended they hadn't all voted me off the island just a few months earlier. Then the first call came. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I excused myself with a polite smile and walked around the side of the porch. The screen showed a name I hadn't seen in over a year. Jameson Wallace. I paused. Let it ring out. When I returned, my mother was at the head of the table. My seat. She was making a toast. We all make mistakes, she said, lifting her glass. But family forgives. The audacity. I let her finish. Let her bask. Then I stepped up beside her, gently placed my hand on her arm and said, I have something to share. Her smile stiffened. Mom, would you mind sitting? She blinked. She hated being called Mom in public. Said it made her feel old. I knew that. She sat. I took a breath. I want to thank you all for coming, I said, voice steady, especially considering how things ended last time we saw each other. They shifted in their seats. I'm not here to fight. I'm not here to accuse. I just want to tell you a story. They listened. Some curious, some bracing. Last year, I began. I lost my job. A ripple. Of course they knew, but not the details. I asked for help. Financially. Emotionally. I asked for time. I asked for patience. And I was told, by some of you, very clearly, that I was being dramatic, that I needed to grow up, that if I wanted to be taken seriously, I had to stop being a burden. Eyes lowered, so I stopped asking. I turned slowly to face the far end of the table. I sold everything I owned. My apartment, my car, my stocks. Gasps. I used that money to buy this ranch. More whispers. But no one interrupted. Because I needed a place to heal, to rebuild, to remember who I was before I let all of you tell me who I should be. Silence. And while I was doing that, I built something else. I tapped the small remote hidden in my dress pocket. Behind me, the porch screen flickered to life. Photos appeared, blueprints, logos, press releases. I started a company, a wellness retreat for women like me, women who were told they were too much or not enough, women who lost everything and started over, women who wanted silence, but also wanted strength. The screen showed headlines now. Megan Fields launches 10-minute women's wellness startup. Last week, we closed our Series A funding. Aunt Beverly choked on her mimosa. And in 6 months, we're opening our first center. Right here. Stunned faces. But that's not why I invited you. My voice dropped a notch. I invited you because you excluded me. You took a holiday built on gratitude and made it a mirror of everything that was broken in this family. You made it clear that I had no place at your table. They sat frozen. So I built my own. I turned to my mother. Her eyes were glassy. Not from emotion, from rage. You once said I was too emotional to lead, too dramatic to be taken seriously, too unstable to be trusted. She opened her mouth. I held up a hand. Don't. Not yet. The second call came. Buzz. Buzz. Same number. I ignored it again. The story wasn't over, but they didn't know that. Not yet. I opened the gate with trembling hands. I had thrown the most perfect Thanksgiving gathering imaginable. The laughter still echoed in the halls, the dishes were still warm, and the scent of cinnamon and roasted turkey lingered in the air like a ghost of everything I was never given, but had now created for myself. But as I stepped out into the evening air, the cold wasn't the thing that chilled me. It was the silence. My phone buzzed again. Unknown number. It was the 4th time in the last hour. The first 3 times I ignored it, assuming it was one of Mom's friends who hadn't gotten an invite and wanted to guilt me into a slice of pie and forgiveness. But now, I wasn't so sure. I picked it up. No voice, just static. Then something that sounded like a breath, a deep, shaky one. Then a click. I stared at the screen. Then it rang again. Different number this time. I answered, hard in my throat. Hello? A pause. Then, Megan, we need to talk. You don't understand what you've started. Click. This time, I recognized the voice. My cousin Taylor. The one who used to sneak vodka into Sprite bottles at family picnics. The one who had cried on my shoulder 2 Christmases ago, saying Mom made her feel like trash. What could she possibly mean? I dialed her back. Voicemail. My hands started shaking. I turned around and looked at the house. Golden light. My friends were inside. My boyfriend Julian was loading dishes into the sink. My best friend Cassie was curled up on the couch, still giggling over the burnt marshmallow she tried to rescue from the fire pit. But it didn't feel safe anymore. It felt like a target. I was too deep in thought to notice Julian coming up behind me. He wrapped his arms around me, his chin resting on my shoulder. You okay, babe? I hesitated. No, I whispered. He turned me around. Talk to me. I debated telling him about the calls, but something in my gut told me not to. Not yet. Not until I knew what I was up against. So I forced a smile, just overwhelmed. It was a big day. He kissed my forehead, nodding slowly. You pulled off a miracle, you know that? I didn't feel like a miracle worker. I felt like I was walking a tightrope, and someone had just started shaking the rope from below. That night, after everyone left and Julian fell asleep beside me, I stayed up scrolling, text messages from people I hadn't heard from in years, Facebook tags, photos of my ranch lighting up timelines, DMs from distant relatives who'd been conveniently absent all these years. Now suddenly, so proud of you and can't wait to visit. But there was one message that made my stomach drop, from my mom's email. Subject line, Thanksgiving. No message in the body, just an attachment. A photo. I clicked on it. It was me, sitting at the dining table that afternoon, laughing with Julian, holding a wine glass mid-toast, taken from outside the window, taken by someone who was never supposed to be there. I slammed the laptop shut. What the hell? I jumped up, raced downstairs, turned on the porch light, and checked every camera feed from the security system. I had 3 cameras, 2 at the front, 1 at the back. None of them showed anything unusual, but the photo was real. The angle was from the side yard, near the rose bushes. There was a blind spot. I didn't sleep that night. By morning, I had convinced myself I was overreacting. Maybe it was just a weird prank. Maybe Mom had driven by and snapped it. Weird, yes, but not threatening until I got the package. FedEx. No return address. Inside a VHS tape. Who even uses those anymore? But I still had my dad's old player in the attic. I grabbed it, plugged it into the guest room TV, inserted the tape, and hit play. The screen was black for a moment. Then shaky footage. Someone holding a camera in a car. The car was pulling up to my ranch. The windshield wipers were on. This was filmed days ago during the storm. The person zoomed in through the window. Me again, cooking, laughing. Then the camera panned down to Julian. But not the Julian I knew. He was on the phone, smiling, and saying something that made my entire chest cave in. Yeah, she really thinks she's the one hosting Thanksgiving. Joke's on her. I've got the real surprise coming. I dropped the remote, rewound, played it again. Same words, same smirk. I ran into the bathroom and threw up. The rest of the day was a blur. I didn't tell Julian what I'd seen. I needed to figure out what kind of game this was. I needed proof. I needed time. I told him I had a migraine and locked myself in the guest room. But I wasn't resting. I was digging. I went through his drawers, his laptop, his phone. He always left it charging. In the kitchen, no passwords. He trusted me. Ironic. The texts were there. Between him and a number saved as L. Are you sure she doesn't suspect? She's clueless. She thinks this ranch is hers. A pause. She'll know soon. Let me do it my way. I took photos of every message. Then I called the number. No. Answer. But the voicemail? A woman's voice. Mom. Of course. The betrayal hit me harder than anything else ever had. Julian had been in my life for 4 years. He moved in with me when I bought the ranch. He helped pick out the paint for the guest rooms. He named our dog. He said he loved me. And all this time, he was feeding information to my mother, plotting something. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. I needed to confront him. But not yet. Not without a plan. Because if he was working with her, there had to be a bigger reason. And I wasn't going to let them win. Later that evening, I went downstairs and acted normal. I made pasta, laughed at Julian's jokes, kissed him goodnight. Then while he showered, I texted Cassie, emergency, come over now. Don't say anything to anyone. She showed up in 20 minutes. I pulled her into the garage and played the VHS tape again. Her face turned pale. Megan, this is messed up. I know. I need you to help me. We're going to find out what they're planning, and we're going to flip it on them. She nodded. No questions, just loyalty. It was time to play a dangerous game, and I was done being the pawn. By the time dawn cracked across the horizon, I already knew more than I wanted to. Cassie had stayed up all night with me, both of us hunched over our laptops, our eyes stinging and dry. But it wasn't exhaustion that haunted me. It was clarity. The kind that scorches your nerves. The kind you can't unsee. Because the deeper we dug, the more it became obvious that this wasn't just about Thanksgiving. It wasn't about exclusion or some petty family rivalry. It was about ownership. About control. About Mom. Cassie clicked on another file. Julian's name showed up again, this time on a deed document. The name of the property lawyer? Leona R. Carlson, my mother's legal advisor for the past 2 decades. She's trying to transfer the ranch, Cassie whispered, to herself. My stomach flipped. I own this property outright, I said, fists clenched. I paid for it in cash. I signed every paper myself. Cassie pointed to a line on the screen. This document claims you gave Julian power of attorney 6 months ago. I backed away. No, I didn't. Then someone forged it. I sank into the floor, cold tiles pressing into my skin. Everything was unraveling faster than I could hold it together. The ranch, my sanctuary, my rebellion, my proof that I didn't need anyone, was under threat. And it wasn't just a threat anymore. It was war. I didn't go back upstairs for hours. Julian texted, called, knocked, said he made me breakfast, said he missed me, but I stayed locked in the garage with Cassie, strategizing. If we call the cops, they'll stall. And your mom has money. Lawyers. We need proof, I muttered. We have the tape. It's not enough. That could be dismissed. I need something solid. A confession, an email, a wire transfer, something. Cassie hesitated. Then we have to bait them. I turned slowly. What do you mean? You have to pretend like you still don't know. Keep being the loving girlfriend. Invite your mom over. Make her think you've forgiven her. Set the stage for them to get comfortable. And then we pull the rug out. Exactly. It was risky. It was dangerous. It was perfect. That afternoon, I cooked Julian's favorite dish, chicken parmigiana with extra garlic bread, and acted like nothing had happened. He smiled, like a man who thought he'd won, kissed my forehead, asked if I wanted to take a trip to Lake Tahoe soon. Maybe, I said sweetly, spooning sauce onto his plate. But first, I was thinking of inviting my mom over. He froze, fork midair. Really? I nodded. I think I've been too hard on her. She's still my mom, you know? And maybe she just didn't know how to love me properly. But I want to start over. He beamed. Cassie was right. They bought it. Hook, line, sinker. The invite was sent. Mom responded within minutes. Would love to. So proud of you for reaching out. That single message made me want to throw my phone against the wall, but I didn't. I needed to stay calm. Composed, ruthless. We set the dinner for Friday. I told her it would be a casual affair, just the 3 of us. She said she'd bring wine. I laughed and said that would be great. Meanwhile, Cassie was building an evidence wall in my office. Screenshots, voicemails, bank records. We even bugged the dining room with a hidden mic and mounted a GoPro in the bookshelf, tucked between the cookbooks and a fake plant. The trap was set. Friday came fast. Julian wore a blue shirt, the one I bought him for our anniversary. I tried not to look at him too long. tried not to imagine every moment we shared as a lie. Cassie stayed hidden upstairs, watching through a monitor. Mom arrived precisely at 7 p.m. Of course she did. She wore pearls. Not the classic kind, but the kind that screamed, "I'm rich, but not showy." Her eyes scanned the house the moment she stepped in, not in admiration, but in assessment. "You've done well," she said, brushing invisible dust off her sleeves. I smiled. "Thanks, Mom. Let's eat." Dinner began like a bad play. Fake laughs, tense silences, and fork clinking that sounded louder than thunder. Then I dropped the bait. "I've been thinking of expanding," I said, pouring her wine. "Maybe buying the property next door. Turn the ranch into a wedding venue." Mom's eyes lit up. She tried to mask it, but I knew her too well. "That sounds ambitious," Julian chimed in. "She can afford it. She's smarter with money than I am." A flash of irritation crossed her face. It was quick, but I saw it. "Have you talked to Leona recently?" I asked casually. Her fingers tensed around her glass. "Why?" "She sent me something weird. A copy of the deed. Said there's been a request to change the ownership structure." Mom's fork froze in midair. Julian looked up, startled. "That must be a mistake," she said quickly. "Leona's been overworked lately. You should talk to her directly." "Oh, I will," I replied, voice like ice, and that's when it happened. Julian dropped his napkin, reached down to pick it up, but I saw it. The flash drive he slid under the table toward my mom. She took it discreetly. Cassie's voice came through my earpiece, soft and urgent. "We've got them." After dinner, Mom said she needed to use the restroom. I directed her toward the hallway, but Cassie intercepted her there, calmly, firmly. "We need to talk." Julian started to get up. I stopped him. "Sit." My voice must have sounded different, because for the first time in years, he obeyed instantly. I opened the laptop I had hidden under the table and hit play. The dining room filled with the sound of his voice from the tape. "Yeah, she really thinks she's the one hosting Thanksgiving." His face drained of color. I slid the screenshots toward him. The messages, the emails, the draft transfer documents. He didn't deny it. Didn't even try. "What do you want?" he whispered. I leaned forward, resting my chin on my palm. "I want you out, both of you. And I want everything documented. You'll sign papers. Admit what you did, or I take all of this public." His lips trembled. "You don't understand what she's capable of. She doesn't scare me anymore." Mom re-entered the room. Cassie followed close behind. It was time. "Sit," I told her, echoing the same word I gave Julian. She laughed. "You think you're in charge now?" I hit another button. The screen behind her lit up. Every message, every recording, every file. The wall of evidence. "No, Mom. I know I am." They left that night. Julian tried to beg. Said he was sorry. Said he loved me. I didn't even answer. Mom, on the other hand, walked out with her head high, but her shoulders were 10 pounds heavier. I knew that was the last time she'd ever step foot in this house, and it was finally mine again. Truly mine. The next morning, I woke up to a dozen missed calls. Media outlets, bloggers, relatives. Someone had leaked part of the story. Not me, not Cassie, but someone. It didn't matter. I walked outside, barefoot, onto the porch. The sun was rising. The ranch was quiet, peaceful, and for the first time in years, I didn't feel like I was performing. I felt like I was living, really living. I didn't leave the ranch for 3 days. No grocery runs, no friend meetups, no fake errands to clear my head. I just stayed. Cassie offered to crash on the couch, but I told her she didn't need to. The house wasn't haunted anymore. Not with lies, not with secrets. Not with Julian's cologne lingering in the sheets, or Mom's judgments tucked between the walls. I opened the windows. Let the wind in. Let the silence settle. But silence has a way of making room for thoughts. And thoughts, they're rarely gentle. It started with small things. I found Julian's cufflinks under the bed, noticed Mom's favorite wine glass still in the dishwasher. Even saw her scarf, the one she always wore to make a point, folded neatly in the guest room drawer. She must have left it behind. At first, I thought it was accidental. But then, the mail came. A sleek, cream-colored envelope with no return address, but my name embossed in silver on the front. I should have thrown it away. I didn't. Megan, I hope you're pleased with yourself. I raised you to be strong, not vindictive. You made your point. You humiliated us. You won. Now stop this madness. We are still family. Return what you took. You know what I mean. Mom P.S. You're not the only one who knows how to play this game. I reread it 6 times. Return what you took? Was she referring to the ranch? To respect? To power? Cassie was furious when she saw it. She wanted me to file a restraining order. Go full nuclear. But I wasn't scared. Not anymore. If she wanted to play a final round, I'd let her. I just wouldn't be the one bluffing this time. I called Leona, the lawyer who helped. Mom faked the power of attorney transfer. At first, she denied everything. Her voice was calm, polished. Legal. Then I mentioned the GoPro footage. Her tone changed. You recorded her? No, I said truthfully. But I recorded you. Silence. I didn't need to explain how. I want a full statement of retraction. You were coerced, blackmailed, whatever lie you need to tell. Just make sure it legally undoes everything you touched. And I want it notarized. She didn't even argue. By the next day, I had the documents in hand. I wish I could say that was the end. But narcissists don't lose gracefully. 2 days later, someone started spreading rumors about me online. Fake accusations, photoshopped screenshots, claims that I'd stolen money from Julian, that I'd forged the deed, that I'd blackmailed my own mother. It started small, a Reddit thread, then a TikTok video, then a blog post. It all sounded ridiculous, but people love scandal. They eat it like candy, no matter how sour it is. Cassie helped me track the IP addresses. You can guess where they led. My PR instincts kicked in. I released a public statement. Calm, graceful, focused on the facts. I didn't mention names. Didn't throw punches. I didn't need to. Because karma doesn't always arrive in flames. Sometimes it comes in the form of court summons. Leona, in her panic to cover her tracks, filed a legal affidavit blaming Mom for coercion. Julian, facing eviction from a condo I had helped pay for, tried to take me to small claims court. He claimed I owed him for emotional damages. My lawyer laughed him out of the room, and Mom? Well, she didn't go down easy, but she did go down. It was raining the day the judgment was finalized. I wore a navy blue suit. Cassie came with me. We didn't speak much, just held each other's hands tightly while the judge reviewed the evidence. Julian never showed up. Mom arrived 15 minutes late, in a cream coat with oversized sunglasses like she was walking into a movie set. The me ruling was swift. All claims dismissed. All assets affirmed as mine. And both Julian and Mom were ordered to cease all contact or face legal penalties. I didn't smile, not out loud. But inside, it felt like sunrise. Weeks passed, then months. The ranch became quiet again, but a different kind of quiet, a peaceful one. I converted the barn into an event space just like I said I would. Cassie helped me design it. String lights, polished floors, giant windows that opened onto the fields. We hosted our first wedding in April, a soft-spoken couple who wanted something magical but not over the top. It went viral on Instagram. In June, a local magazine asked to feature the ranch. In July, I got nominated for an entrepreneur award, and in August, Mom called, blocked number, straight to voicemail. Her voice was cold, controlled. "You may have won the ranch, Megan, but you lost your family. Hope it was worth it." I didn't delete it. I kept it, like a trophy. Cassie moved in full-time. We didn't label it at first, just called it temporary while she helped with the summer bookings. But by September, her clothes were in my closet. Her toothbrush was next to mine. She'd hum while folding laundry. I'd catch her watching me read. It felt safe. It felt real. One night, as we watched a storm roll in, she turned to me and asked, "Do you regret any of it?" I didn't even have to think. "No," I said, because the truth is, losing the people who never valued you isn't a loss, it's freedom. The last time I saw Mom was on a Tuesday afternoon, was picking up flowers in town for a wedding shoot when I caught her reflection in the store mirror. She looked older, smaller, not fragile, just faded, like a villain in the final act, stripped of all costume and bravado. She saw me. We locked eyes. And for a second, I thought she might say something. Reach out. Pretend. But she didn't. She just turned and walked away. No drama. No goodbye. Just silence. And this time, I was thankful for it. It's funny how things can flip. How the girl once excluded from Thanksgiving ended up hosting strangers who cried tears of joy in her barn. How the family that once made her feel invisible had to watch from a distance as she built something beautiful. And not because she needed revenge, not because she wanted to hurt them back, but because she finally realized her peace was never up for negotiation.